My name is Martin DL, and I'm joined by my colleague, Lucia Giles. And today we're going to briefly discuss the recent launch of the NICE Real-World Evidence Framework.
Real-world evidence has the potential to transform our current model of clinical evidence generation, in that it allows us to better substantiate the value of a medical intervention in the real world. It can be defined as clinical evidence derived from real-world data applied to the evaluation of the potential benefits or risks associated with a medical intervention. These data relate to patient health or experience collected outside the context of a highly controlled clinical trial and can be derived from a range of sources such as service evaluations, audits, patient device data, patient health records, medical claims data, surveys, post-marketing studies, single-center experience, or patient registry.
Randomized controlled trials are considered the gold standard for evidence-based medicine. However, there are some limitations. First, applicability. Trial results may not always mimic real-life scenarios, with populations often restricted by inclusion or exclusion criteria, for example, comorbidities or patient performance score. Secondly, cost and logistics. Trial power calculation frequently requires a high number of patients randomized, whilst trial validity usually requires the inclusion of multiple international sites. Then, of course, there is the long trial run time that can sometimes fail to keep pace with standard of care, particularly in fast evolving therapy areas. Finally, many medical devices, e-health and software applications are not really amenable to classical RCT design. Real-world evidence can bridge many of these gaps and is increasingly being exploited to that end. For example, market authorization decision makers have made use of such evidence for some time. The FDA has published multiple guidelines on best practice in using real-world data, such as the 2021 guidance on e-health records and medical claims data. In Europe, the EMA has published data highlighting the extensive use of registry and hospital data in the post-marketing setting. Furthermore, national health technology assessment bodies are increasingly looking to real-world evidence to fill evidence gaps within the reimbursement process. With recent technological advances, real-world data is now being captured on a truly phenomenal scale. Nevertheless, concerns remain around the suitability of such evidence, such as its limitation to association, not causation, and issues around data quality, such as bias due to lack of randomization, missing or incorrectly coded data, and interpretation bias. It is against this backdrop that the UK's National Institute for Health and Care Excellence, better known as NICE, has launched its new real-world evidence framework to better help identify when real-world data can be used to reduce uncertainties and improve guidance and describe best practices for planning, conducting, and reporting such evidence. It should be noted that NICE already makes use of real-world evidence. These include systemic anti-cancer therapy data collection within the Cancer Drugs Fund, populating and validating economic models, medtech evaluations, or simply bridging evidence gaps in single-arm phase 2 study submissions. So the launch of the framework is more of an opportunity to take a more systematic approach to real-world evidence. The new NICE framework rests on 3 key points designed to improve real-world evidence: transparency, data suitability, and methods. Now, transparent reporting enables reviewers to understand what was done, builds confidence in the data, and enhances reproducibility. Data provenance and fitness for purpose should be fully understood. Studies should be planned up front as far as possible. The use of research PICO question, that is to say population, indication, comparator, and outcome, is preferred where possible. Trial emulation is encouraged, that is to say, where researchers should try to emulate what the ideal RCT should look like, but within an observational setting, with trade-offs clearly identified and explained. Researchers should also identify confounders and residual bias, with the application of sensitivity analysis to help reduce uncertainty. Finally, NICE emphasized that the framework is really a living concept that will evolve as stakeholders engage further. Importance is placed on keeping the framework up to date and extending it to priority topics.
Randomized control trials and real-world evidence are already considered to be mutually complementary. Now, with the publication of the NICE framework, we have a roadmap towards the formation of a more robust partnership by providing key objectives to improve real-world evidence that should result in a new paradigm in evidence-based research medicine.